So do you see it becoming like an ecosystem? I kind of think of it like Apple, right? How old the thing becomes an ecosystem.
Dude,
and then
nailed it. You're gonna wrap your hand around,
okay,
and it's gonna scan.
Scary, man.
Hey guys, welcome to episode 62 of the Northstar podcast. We're doing a continuation with our guest here, Clayton. And we have a lot of awesome stuff we're going to be talking to, diving deep into some really cool, changes with the medicinal side of the world. So, yeah, we're just going to jump right into it, do some testing.
And go from there.
Yeah, so a big thing that, especially with this puck, the way I look at it, it's like with me being involved in this company and getting it out there, because as far as I know, I'm the only person in Canada that has one of these. Mm-hmm. This is actually my business partner, Shane. So it's me, my wife, and my business partner, Shane, this is his machine. But I'm pretty sure this is the only one, at least in Western Canada.
Wow.
So, and anyone who has this already gets, first in line to get one of the Prisms. Mm-hmm. And so, me and my wife were going to have a Prism, and now we're going to clinics, just like how I talked to you and Vic about it at the shop. And because now with this, it's like claiming our stake in the dirt for the bridge that's going to be built, that's giving people a whole new path of preventative, autonomous healthcare without having to have their doctors involved. Because it's giving them enough data. Because it's also in the future, we're talking between 6 months and a year, going to be integrated with fitness wearables. Yep. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So because it's all about more data to be able to take that data and what can we actually change. So because we have all that genetics data, what they do is they have basically a U 2.0, so that you can take all of your, you can input not yet, there's going to be a integration that's coming soon, but you can input any of your blood work, if you get genetics testing, GI mapping, so gastrointestinal stuff, all into the app. And because they have all this genetics data logged up and secured, it's one of the biggest genetics databases in the world. And so they're able to have that as their advantage and be able to give you that U 2.0 and give you recommendations on things you can do to help balance all of the markers that you have that are out of whack.
So when you mentioned vitamins and stuff, like vitamin packs, right? Mm-hmm. What are some most common deficiencies then that you tend to see?
So I don't know, because this doesn't test for any particular deficiencies. That's why it works so beautifully in conjunction with other testing. Because we're working with a couple nutritionists that's what they do. They analyze blood work for people. Yeah. So that doesn't replace that. It just works in conjunction with it. So for example, if you're deficient in B vitamins, you're deficient in iron, you're deficient in whatever else, how do we know what you're taking is actually working?
Yeah, it's moving the needle, right?
Yeah, exactly. So the way we're looking at the it's called Life Pack, is their kind of foundational supplement that is able to guarantees you to raise your score of the biomarker that's being tested by the scanner. And so that's a foundational tool of your metabolic health, because if you raise your score, everything else that you're doing is going to be more effective. How many people are taking hundreds of dollars worth of supplements?
Yes.
And can they measure a single one of them to see what they're actually doing or how effective they are?
Yes. I know we kind of mentioned this with peptides, right? If someone's taking a lot of peptides, right? How can they know that all the peptides are doing what they're doing, right? Mm-hmm. And how we focus on taking one at a time and seeing if that works and cycling on, cycling off. I think that's so cool with technology and how easily accessible it is, because it puts so much control in the person's hand that they can go and it builds confidence. That's another thing too, right? Especially if you're in an elderly group and you're so worried, because that's such a big thing.
Yeah, so that's actually, funny enough you mentioned that, that's actually something that me and my wife plan on doing, is going to private health or old
homes.
care homes, because if people are paying good money to have their family members stay there, why not improve their overall metabolic function and give them a better quality of life? Instead of them being on so many pharmaceuticals that are causing them, different side effects, to take more pharmaceuticals, and not to make any medical claims that, this one pill can take you off of a pharmaceutical, because that's not what it's all about. It's about just adding information, adding knowledge, and something that you can actually measure, and anything that you can measure, you can improve.
Yes.
So it's adding that tool for improved metabolic function for anyone in there. So there's there's so many different avenues that we're going down to get it into studios, clinics, practitioners, naturopath clinics, like so many different areas. Now, of course, there's some big hurdles with the healthcare system in Canada.
Yep.
I was at an hour call with a doctor who started in the research side of things and does some like stand-in work at general practitioner clinics, and we're kind of discussing what it would take to get this into a clinic to be able to have this as a tool to like measure as like a fifth vital sign. You know, take your blood pressure, do your heart rate, do that sort of thing, and then check to see what your antioxidant score is. You know, like have that as a foundational thing that they can have. Because I mean, in the United States, the supplement is already in the physician's desktop reference guide for something that they can use. So there's no like compliance issues with like FDA or anything like that. It's just a matter of pretty much bureaucracy and hoops you got to jump through and people that you have to prove something to in order to make it an actual thing that you can carry in an actual clinic that's under like Fraser Health, for example, as that governing authority. So the goal is to get this into as many of these practitioners and studios and clinics' hands to be able to get it to their people, because at the end of the day, it is set up like a direct sales company. So, you know, the company is able to make more profit as well. Like there's a lot of general practitioners in the States that have incorporated this into their practice, because there's not as many hoops to jump through as there is in Canada. And so, you know, they're just looking at improving health outcomes. And it also adds an extra revenue stream, because they're getting anything they're purchasing with the supplements to go along with this. That's bringing commission income into the clinic, which, you know, when you're seeing people for 8, 9, 10 minutes at a time, and you're trying to give them better health results, like what better way to be able to impactfully improve and measure a health factor for someone.
Exactly. What was the timeline of that to what you're saying with the new product, the Prism? How long was that difference? Like the gap from?
So the tech with this, it uses a technology called Raman spectrometry, which is like it's a physics tool. Like in the States, it's not even classified as a medical device; it's classed as a physics device. So it started out like the size of an entire room, like an MRI machine essentially, and it's slowly condensed. V2 is a little bit smaller. It probably was like, you know, this big, and this is V3. That's the S3 scanner. That's the size of a football, and now there's this, and it's been out for like 40 years.
Working. You said
4D.
40. Okay, I was.
So they've been working through the progress of this for 40 years.
Wow.
So do you see it being like you said, wearables, but do you see it even being smaller and smaller, more accessible as it goes then?
I don't know how much smaller it's going to get than this. I mean, because we already have wearables. It's kind of nice that it's not another wearable, to be honest. And I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, I'm a big Whoop guy. I love my Whoop strap. I love the data that it gives me. I love how you input your journal that's relevant to you and things you're looking at to see what's moving the needle and what's not moving the needle. But this is just it's just another thing to add to it that also will integrate the data from this to be able to expand even further on ways that I can improve my body's function.
So do you see it becoming like an ecosystem? I kind of think of it like Apple, right? How all the thing becomes an ecosystem and it all wraps around. You have the app.
Dude,
and then
nailed it.
Especially with AI and how that can like, boom, you have all this stuff like...
Yeah, because especially with all the recommendations that it's giving you, like if it's integrating with, say, a Whoop or an Oura Ring, and then you're able to take your genetics testing that you do to get a better understanding of how your immune system is working or whatever, blood work, and you're able to have that all in one hub, and it's giving you recommendations, it's giving you, like you say, supplement recommendations that are directly tied to, like, based on what your needs are and what your scores are, then it's going to spit you recommendations, which are all then tied back to the person that you got it from in the first place.
And I personally think that, like, how we have that, like you said, the 60-day time shot, and then you have your wearables that tell you your daily stuff, right? Like your heart rate. And the biggest thing that I personally think of is someone with decision fatigue and how it can help, like, boom, now your decision fatigue is so much less because you don't have to worry about planning all this stuff, grocery shopping. You're like, okay, I can take this. And especially with money cost too, right? Especially if you can take a supplement, that's going to help you with a lot of stuff.
Yeah, 100%. And like, you better believe that as soon as I get the Prism in my hands, like, I'm taking it with me everywhere I go and scanning as many people as possible, and at least giving them the option to choose. This is like, hey, there's a whole different data set that you could be looking at for your health if you want to choose it. And with our healthcare system, there isn't really a whole lot of choice. There's either like doctors and taking the traditional medical route, or how do you say that? What's the actual name of the medical system that uses the pharmaceuticals? Can't remember what its technical name is. But then there's the natural side, going to a naturopath, osteopath.
Like holistic approach,
holistic approach.
Yeah.
And then there's going to be an autonomous approach where you don't need to have a professional to collect this information and give you recommendations on how to improve it.
What do you think about social media culture if this becomes mainstream, and when it does, how that's you think that could negatively impact stuff when this gets out, like for
negatively impact?
As in, like, do you think there's ways that people will spin it? Like, for example, like if people could like sell their own supplement, for example, to make a profit, do you think that's like could be something that's
So that's actually a common question I've gotten from different practitioners or trainers. You know, everyone's got their stuff that they like. It's like, well, can we just do these supplements? So like, well, you can, and you can see how it goes, or you can use the supplements that are clinically proven and give a money-back guarantee to raise this score. But at the end of the day, you can do whatever you want. But it's nice to have the choice and the option to be able to pick whatever aligns best with you and what you're trying to do.
So the data will basically triumph.
Yeah, and I mean, it's all of it is about education and awareness. Like, there's guys on our team, you know, we're like a subsidiary of like Get Healthy USA, which is a big team of people that have this, and they've been distributing it across the states for the last few years. And, you know, there's guys that are having to have conversations with like world-renowned or America-renowned physicians or pediatricians to educate them on what this is all about. And one of the guys on my team who was in the nursing world and surgical, Ryan, who's freaking dope, awesome guy.
Yeah.
He actually went back to school because when he was looking into all this, no one could tell him what antioxidants, oxidative stress, like no one was really able to tell him what it was. So he went back to school to learn all about it. And now he's a driving force for the company and, you know, killing it and getting this into a lot of people's hands through education and awareness, which is what I love the most about it. You don't have to push anything. It's going to give you suggestions, yes, but it's not going to make you do anything. We're not going to hold you down to one particular thing. You can use this tool, take the recommendations, or you can take the lifestyle approach or the nutrition approach and see what happens. It's all just it's a trial and error game that you can do as part of your own journey. You're going to wrap your hand around.
Okay.
And it's going to scan. Hold on, I just want to make
Left,
sure.
right, doesn't matter?
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Okay. So straight here?
Yeah. And then wrap around. There you go. So basically no light. So it's going to slowly zero in on where your score is from 0 to 80,000. And the more towards the purple it is, the better. Testing the nutritional foundations of nutrition.
Yeah, holy shit. Scary, man.
$38,000?
38.
38.
80?
Not terrible, not fantastic.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, like I say, it's not a one piece rules all element to look at.
Cool.
But it's just looking at your cell's defenses for
against certain things.
Yeah.
So would this scanner be best, like, for example, if I'm coming off being sick, would that change the test versus not, or no?
It does a pretty good job of getting like a snapshot of like the last 60 days.
Oh, okay, cool.
So I mean, things like drinking and smoking, it's not going to help. Being sick, if you haven't been, you know, eating and your body's going through stuff, it may affect it a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, I was sick for 2 weeks out of my 2 months period between scans, and my scans still went up.
Oh, okay, cool. Okay.
All right, you want to do it?
I'll just put my hand.
So, sorry, can you re-explain this? I think I missed the part where you were talking about the numbers.
Okay.
Are we rolling right now?
We are rolling.
Well, we're just talking right now. It's fine. We're just talking.
Just do whatever.
He's gonna be like, just
Okay, yeah.
close.
So the scanner is going to give you a number somewhere between 0 and 80,000, and the higher the number, the more protected your cell membranes are.
I had a question that it disappeared off my head for a sec. I'm trying to think of it. Jerry, do you have anything?
Oh yeah, I can ask something if you forgot.
I had something on top of my head I was thinking of, and I was
I can come up with a question. I think my thing would be is improvement level. Like, what's a realistic improvement level of like what you could actually see with someone over, excuse me, a year timeline?
Yeah, that's a good question. I'm not 100% sure. It depends on, like, there's so many levels. Like, there's actually 3 levels of the of supplements that we have that are coincide with this. Like, there's a juice that has like a bunch of different tropical fruits that, you know, it's like the level 1. The Life Pack is the level 2. Then there's a newer version, the Life Pack Nano, which is like their level 3. So it's, you know, it's going to change that score a little bit more depending on which level you choose, or how often you want to take the supplements, or whatever. So it's hard to say exactly what that would translate to in like physical changes, right? Because it's at the end.
It depends.
Yeah, it's going to depend on so many different factors, how in tune that person is with their body. Like, and that goes for anything really, of how much are you actually going to notice a change. Now, will you notice it in other health markers as well? Quite possibly, yeah.
Now, it's fine. I remember what I was going to say. You mentioned about the smoking thing, and then how you kind of run that little self-study. What are some, like, all right, is there 3 common biomarkers or stuff that, or habits that people are doing, whether it's drinking or other stuff that people should know that is most likely common to affect the score at all that you use?
Smoking and drinking are big ones.
Yeah.
Getting bad sleep, I would say, is another big one. You know, not getting enough sleep. That your body has natural cycles that it runs through to be able to clean out and to detox and do all these different things for your body. And if you're not giving it the opportunity to hit those different sleep cycles, then you're cutting yourself short on that recovery cycle. So I would say those are 3 really big things. And then
And diet?
And well,
Chronic stress.
yeah, stress is a big one as well. Basically stress just takes everything that your body is supposed to be doing and just like shifts it into a different gear of like survival, right? It's putting you into fight or flight, sympathetic nervous system gets turned on, and like, so that's why a lot of people get gastrointestinal issues when they're stressed, because their body isn't absorbing what it's supposed to, and your gut's all messed up, and that's when you end up with bad poops.
Which this is actually something that I feel like a lot of people don't actually even think about. Is like your poop is like a huge thing.
I'm so stoked that you said that. Like,
I was learning about that in my dietitian class. It's like that was actually the very first thing our professor told us. It's hilarious, but that whole phrase, I don't know if you heard about dying of embarrassment, like how that originated from back before World War III when people were dying. Like one of the most common issues
before World War III?
Yeah.
World War.
I was gonna say, bro, what fucking era are you living in?
What podcast is this?
Before World War I, before humans were killing each other, back then it was like the biggest thing was people would not be, you know, like they would look at their poop, but they would be too scared of saying anything or too embarrassed of going up to their doctors, and that would lead to so many issues building up, and them not taking the, you know, preventive measure.
Dude, and honestly, I like not to say I died of embarrassment, but like a few years back, like what would it be, like 2019, I had a lot of issues like that. I thought I was eating what I should have been eating, and then, you know, further investigation, you know, I find that, hey, maybe these things aren't actually meant to be in my body at all, and maybe these things aren't actually serving me. And you know, it took a long time to actually fix a lot of those things. I was, you know, having bad poops on a daily basis and wasn't paying attention to it and drawing the correlation between my gut health and when your gut health completely directly related to your brain and the neurotransmitters that are driving your mood and how you function. Like, it's so foundationally important. So yeah, having good poops is key.
Yeah.
I think just like it's interesting you say that, because when we sit down with someone and they have poor gut health, a lot of times when we work on, when we work on their gut health, it really like changes the whole thing, right?
Mood, and that's because I can sleep, and all that stuff compounds.
Like it's like a
reaction.
Yeah.
Absolutely. There's no one recipe, there's no one cure, and that's what the last 6 years of my life has been all about, is like diving into each individual little thing of things that I can do to tweak and change, and looking at different eating modalities, and looking at the whole carnivore, vegan, and everything in the middle, and what is actually right and what is actually right for me, and like how do I fuel this thing to work as effectively as possible. And so it's been a being that I did real estate and then moving down to Mexico, like having, not to say realtors don't work, because they do work, but I had a lot of different amounts of free time, or like spend a lot of time driving, and like the amount of books I've listened to, books I've read, podcasts I've been a prolific podcaster since like 2013. And so like most of it is around fitness or health or nutrition or one thing or another. Going into the biohacking world is a whole other rabbit hole.
Yeah.
So like figuring out, sorting through the weeds and diving down each individual rabbit hole to see what's actually going to work, not only for the general populace, but also like looking at complete individual variances between me and you, and looking at our genetics and blood type and what makes us function better. So, finding all these different things has been all just part of the process and part of the journey, because like I say, I may have been fit, I may have been healthy-ish looking, appearing to most people, maybe better shape than average, but I still struggled with things. I still had things that weren't working for me.
Yeah, optimal.
Yeah.
And I think with social media especially, that's like a big thing, where people like look at people, they ideal people, and they don't understand that, hey, this person might look amazing on the outside, but there's a lot of stuff that they're dealing with in the inside.
Yeah, and not only that, but like, people that are sharing, they look the part and they be the part, but it doesn't mean they're a guru. They just found what works for them. And there's so many things that don't always work for other people. And I know me and you were talking about it at the gym, like even just how you move and how you're training, like there's not one thing fits all that's going to help with everybody all the time. Like there's so many nuances involved with it all.
I'm curious with your transition. So after real estate, it was mainly into stem cells, and then this is more after, right? So when the stem cells introduced, was it relatively the same time that you got interested in?
So when I moved to Mexico in 2022, I attempted to do real estate there, and that didn't go so well. I didn't build the business the way I know how to build a business. You're in a foreign country. I've made a lot of changes in my life over the recent times, and like if I wanted to go out locally and network with a bunch of expats, I would be going to an expat bar, right? Let's go hang out with a bunch of middle-aged people and get drunk. I don't drink, so that's not really what I want to do. I'm up in the morning going kickboxing. I'm not staying up drinking at local bars. So like I didn't want to do that. So I took like the social media approach and tried to be that go-to person within my real estate network that I already established for purchasing in Mexico, and like being in a tourist destination, trying to function doing business in a whole other landscape was an absolute nightmare. I didn't sell a damn thing. And I tried like 3 other different businesses between then and now. The stem cell thing I've been doing for coming up on a year. So there was a big gap of me trying different things, different businesses, different models, different approaches, and not really finding any success with it. And then the stem cell thing hit, and that was like obviously like everything I've been learning about the human body, all that knowledge and information that I've been intaking came in really handy, having consultations and talking to people on the phone for getting them in for stem cells. And then this came into my awareness, in like May or June, and then it's been a slow roll of like getting the information, and then the rollout of this, because like moving directly into this was a bit of a different landscape, especially with this coming out in December. So kind of held off, and I was just focusing on the stem cells and making some money because I ran through most of my money living in Mexico for a couple of years without much income. So now it's full steam ahead with kind of both things at the same time, and it's a cool balance, and I just get to talk to lots of people.
And it's awesome because you're so passionate about it. Like, just hearing from you for the last, I don't know, however we've been talking about. It's awesome when you find something that you're just so passionate about, right?
Yeah, it's what I'm talking about with people most of the time anyways.
Yeah.
So like...
It's like your baby, right? It's like, yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, well, yeah, I am my baby.
I don't know, I feel like the business and all that stuff, when you, especially if you see like how it can impact your life, and then you see how it impacts other people's lives, it's just one of the best feelings in the world. We were having this conversation about as coaches, and when we chat with our clients and they tell us about their wins of the day, and it's just amazing.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And exactly like on the Prism it says what does it say? A force for good. It says on it, and I honestly believe in that, and that everything that I'm getting out is going to make a difference in somebody's life. And because I did the coaching thing, I know you did a dive on my Instagram and found some of the biohacking performance coaching that I was doing. I helped some people along with that. It was great, but at the end of the day, one-on-one, looking at the way I operate, the way I function, like I dove into my human design with my wife to figure out how I function as a person in business, personality, and like. I feel like one-on-one helping people just wasn't driving me enough to feel like I'm making enough of a difference.
Yeah, that you're moving the needle, right?
Exactly. And like, then there's just the awareness gap of it as well. Like even with the stem cell calls, I can only focus on one person at a time, where with this, I feel like I can get to more people, and especially by getting into different clinics and practitioners and getting it into other people's hands to then...
Early.
Exactly. I'm not even an early adopter. I'm like ground floor with this. So it's, like our goal is to get 1 million of these out in Canada, across the country. I want to build a team of distributors in basically every hub across the country to get this into all these different clinics and practitioners and supplement people's hands.
Is that your vision, like long term, is what you just said right there, and then just keep building stem cell, or is there anything that you want to kind of add as you go?
So, I mean, I don't know. Right now, the focus is on this, as well as, because stem cells is my job currently. I'm a contractor for essentially doing sales. My title is patient advocate because there's so much education and guidance along the way. Yes, it is sales, but it's not you can't pressure someone into buying a stem cell package to fly them to Panama. You know what I mean? This isn't a Forex trading course that I'm trying to sell kids on. You know what I mean? Like this is a life-changing medical procedure. Yeah. Like, so it's not really sales. Yeah. It's like make a friend, help a friend, and that's pretty much it. So I don't know where stem cells will be in the future. I mean, I think I'm gonna have a role in the company, whether it's doing direct sales, continuing that role, or branching off into other things. I did a couple of different workshops where I was inviting trainers, physio, chiro, kins, doctors, whoever, into a workshop and teaching them about stem cells, like basically what I told you guys, and showing them, but as a little bit more curated, and showing them what is available and how that could be like a reciprocal or kind of a referral basis to give patients that they're comfortable talking about it with, or if they ask about it, the option, the avenue for them to choose, right? Because not everyone wants to be on pharmaceuticals for the rest of their life. Some people would rather spend the money
make that one-time investment, and then
make that investment into their health and make that change that way. So to be able to provide that option to people would be huge. So I think the education side of stem cells for practitioners and people in the health space is definitely an avenue that I'd be going with the company. It's just a matter of building it out and making it happen all at the same time.
Yeah. Well, is there anything else you would want to leave out with all the viewers again? I know we mentioned it last time.
Well, I mean, if anyone wants to know more information about this Arbonne lotion, the Prism IO, which is the scanner, this bad boy in here, but the miniature hockey puck sized device, you can I'll give my email for this one because honestly, like I'm happy to share with anyone. For right now, daywithclay@gmail.com.
That's
Easiest email to ask questions, and whether you just want to try the supplements, get a scan, see where you fall, or if you want to join the movement and bring this to more practitioners and build a business out of it alongside me, great. Or you're owning a clinic. I know you guys talk to a lot of local businesses. If it's something that you want to provide for your people, like reach out and I'm happy to have the conversation.
Yeah, and just before we end here, but my last question, when you were talking about the tiers of supplements, right? There's like different packages. What can somebody expect on prices, and like what does that kind of go for?
Yeah, so for Life Pack, which is the level 2, which is the supplement that I personally take, if you take it twice a day, they give you a box of 60 sachets, and that box runs 120 Canadian dollars for your month supply.
Okay.
Or you can do it once a day and drag that out for 2 months.
Okay.
And then there's other supplements like the Age Lock, which is the anti-aging protocol. Those I think go for like 140. But there's also supplements like they've got a what do they got? They've got a CoQ10 one. They've got a Cordyceps or a reishi blend as well. It's got like the highest concentration of reishi extract of like any supplement anywhere. And that one's like $80. So there is a span, but for the supplements directly tied to that, Life Pack's 120. I think Life Pack Nanos up to like 200 for the month supply. But that's also like, getting into a more robust and a newer, more advanced version essentially with more in it.
Cool. Sweet. Awesome.
Yeah, that's amazing. And yeah, love that.
Welcome to thanks for listening to my TED Talk.
Yeah. Honestly, it was a really good TikTok.
Yeah.
Awesome. Cool. Yeah, this is a really fun episode, honestly. So
Yeah, likewise. I enjoyed myself.
Well, Clayton.
Thanks, sir. Thank you.
Great talk.
Pleasure.
And thank you, everyone, for listening to episode 62 of the Northstar podcast.